Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. You're watching The Inside Scoop. I'm your host, Steve Scanlon. Sitting next to me, making his return, is my co-host, Bubba. Welcome, Bubba.
Hi, Steve.
And sitting next to Bubba is making his return once again, Joe.
Hello.
Welcome, Joe.
Hello.
As you're watching The Inside Scoop, and we're going to get straight to wrestling. Now,
should we start off with deaths first?
Okay.
Usually you're starting off with food. But
don't get him started.
Out of respect for Halloween, we should start with deaths.
I got food on my mind and my mind on food.
Yeah, you probably. I'm not going to say it.
Don't get him started on Sunday.
He'll never come off. Go ahead, Go ahead, Joe.
Okay.
That's your cue there, Joe.
Okay. Police Academy's 2- and 3-star Art Matrano. Saturday Night Live star Norm Macdonald.
God, great actor, funny man.
Sex and the City star Willie Garson.
Heard of him?
Disney's Old Yeller star Tommy Kirk.
Remember that name too.
And he's next to him, came in the last couple of weeks, General Colin Powell.
Yes, very much respect for that man.
And Tom Hanks' co-star from Bosom Buddies, Peter Scolari.
Wow, that's a new one for me too. I think the biggest name on there to pass away, Norm Macdonald and Colin Powell. I mean, Colin Powell did an awful lot for this country.
He has.
He was one of the greatest Secretary of State. Was he Secretary of State or something, or Attorney General after he with the military?
Yeah.
Very educated black man, very smart man. Did an awful lot for the military. The United States lost a great man in Colin Powell.
Now, Joe, do you have a birthday list?
No, I don't.
I know, I think it was 2 shows ago you mentioned your father's birthday was coming up.
Oh, yeah.
Now we have a belated birthday for him.
And also my niece's birthday was, and also your sister-in-law's birthday was a few weeks ago.
My dad's birthday would have been October the 15th. My dad would have been 98. He was born 1923. If he was still with us. My father's passed on, so.
Yeah, my dad was born during World War II. He was born in 44.
My brother's birthday was October 10th. His anniversary is October 10th. His son's birthday is October 10th. He plans everything. Worked out that way, because I missed you guys' last show. We've had a lot of wrestlers' birthdays. I know if you ever go on Wrestling Forum, look that up, folks. Wrestling Forum, run by my good friend Vicious Vic Salagasta, if I say his name right, I hope I did. He posts birthdays just about daily for wrestlers' birthdays and information. I don't think Hacksaw Jim Duggan watches our show, but he just came out of the hospital. He was very sick. Good friend of Vic's. So I wish Hacksaw, Jim Duggan, a speedy recovery and hope he's healthy.
Hey, Halloween is this weekend.
Oh, here we go.
Sunday.
Here we go.
And today, the reason I'm going to mention today, we set up a Halloween display in my backyard, and the wind blew a lot of it down and over, and some of the props into the next yard, so we're going to have to redo our backyard. But we're looking forward to scaring the kids this Halloween night. And I'm looking forward to passing out candy this Sunday night.
Here we go.
Against the best wishes of my roommates who told me,
half the neighborhood.
They warned me, Steve, do not eat the candy. They're for the trick-or-treaters. And I promise that
the only
I will
house
not
I
eat
know
all the candy.
that gets 5 bags of candy and the kids actually get 1.
I think that's fair.
Well, no. Wasn't it last Halloween we mentioned this? You were handing out wrappers at one time?
Yes.
Empty wrappers. He's giving children empty wrappers. Because he's sitting in the corner, fudge dripping off of him, candy. I mean, he had things in his pocket. I mean, Butterfinger, half-eaten Butterfingers sitting next to him. I mean, I could keep going on and on. He had a bag of candy. Was it how many pieces? One of the big bags, right? One of the 135 pieces. There was like 5 of them, right?
Yes.
And You ate what, about 4 pieces of candy that night?
Well,
Your sugar must have been about 9,000, but didn't go to waste. It went right to your waist.
Oh, that's true. You know, I've been on a diet for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And all I lost was 14 days.
Why do I bring up food?
Okay.
And what's the other reason? What's the other good thing for Halloween? I'm actually wearing my Salem mask shoot, or one of those shirts I got in Salem years ago. I pulled out of my archive of many T-shirts. Trial of George Jacobs, one of the people who was actually killed at the Salem witch trials. He was hung, thinking he was a witch. I'm actually reading the book now about it because today is a Wednesday. A lot of folks know we had a horrible storm on Tuesday.
Yeah.
And I know it won't air until Saturday morning, but I have no power in my house at home, so I have to sit by light. I have a little tap light, and I'm reading a book. I happen to have a big, thick book about the Salem witch trials. I'm starting to read it. I have nothing else to do at home. I can't see anything. I can't. There's no. You wouldn't like my house. I can't open my refrigerator. I'm afraid to. I want to keep out the cold in there as long as I can. But Salem witch trials, it was good. You realize that we are a Puritan state, right? Do you realize that?
I believe so.
Yeah, well, you believe so. He doesn't know.
I don't know.
We've been to Salem.
Hit in the head. Yeah, I've been to Salem. I used to work in Salem, Pickering Wharf.
Yeah, I went to Salem for the first time.
About 7 times I've been to Salem. At least 7 times and seen different things. The videos, you go to the visitor center over there, and they show a video not just about the witches, but about how Salem was a great mercantile city at one time, and boats would come in with merchandise from the India Trade Company. The House of Seven Gables, John Hawthorne and Nathaniel Hawthorne, the book written by Nathaniel Hawthorne. John Hawthorne was one of the first owners of that house. I've been to several times. He was a mercantile, the guy with merchant fishermen. They'd bring supplies over from China and from over in Europe. The trade embargo went back and forth. No, it's not just about witches. I mean, you can go there and see the statue of Bewitched, which is legendary, of Elizabeth Montgomery. But I know this year, and I'm gonna wear a mask and bring your vaccination card, because if you don't have one, they won't let you into the city right now. They're actually checking people on the way in.
I was going to ask you, are they allowing tourists?
Okay. But yeah, if you're vaccinated, they're really cracking down on it this year, because I guess there was a lot of problems there last year. I've been there on Halloween, and it's crazy. But I've been vaccinated, and I don't want to go there this year with all the hoopla and craziness and having to be proved I'm vaccinated.
Well, I heard they're coming out with another movie that's going to film their Hocus Pocus 2.
Actually, they're filming in Rhode Island.
In Rhode Island? Yeah, I thought they were going to do parts in Salem.
No, it's going to be doing it in Rhode Island.
They'll be doing it in Rhode Island, but the original Hocus Pocus, the first one, had scenes from Salem.
Yes, it did.
Awesome.
Is Bette Mel going to star in the remake?
I don't know.
Neither do I. She was in the original, I believe. Yeah. I've seen it on TV. Yeah. I mean, we could tell some good stories. I'm sure we've all had good stories about things. I'm sure a lot of you folks out there have been to spooky worlds. Spooky worlds have been all around New England. They were in Berlin, Mass. They were in Foxborough. They're in Manchester, New Hampshire now. Spooky World's reopened again this year. I mean, I know Cambridge Lake Park has their own spooky thing they do for Halloween, but Spooky World, I mean, quick story about Spooky World to show you a little bit about my character and how I'm a little bit crazy on and off camera. Steve knows this, and so does Joe. Okay? I'm straight. I'm not different folks on camera pretty much what I am in real life. We went to the haunted hayride. We waited an hour and a half for this stupid thing in line. We go on it. We're on a cart being pulled by a tractor. We stop. It's a scene. It's husband and wife, and they're watching a movie at a drive-in. Well, they turn around, and they're ghouls. You know, they get the zombies. They get the zombie makeup. Of course, the tractor stalls. I'm sitting there, minding my own business. All right? And up wanders the bride. She's not a bad-looking girl. I mean, take the face makeup off. I know it was makeup because it's fake. Okay. I'm sorry, but I don't usually get scared too easily. The girl's right in my face, moaning. So what would any red-blooded American male do? What do you think I did, Steve?
You gave her a kiss.
I kissed her right in the mouth. Didn't know who she was and all around. And she said to the guy, he kissed me. And the other guy's like, just back up. Took this girl right out of character. One of the funniest things maybe I've ever done in my life. I mean, I got to tell you another story about the other spooky world, but I'm not gonna mention it. It's a family show. But that's just my character. That's just the way I am. I'm sure Steve has his, with Pennywise or eating candy or bombing kids with candy. I don't know about Joe. Joe, have you ever any funny stories from Halloween?
Not really, no.
No? When you gotta take off that mask. Anyway. You were saying, Steve, I interrupted you again for the 50,000th time in the show?
Yeah, about Halloween.
Halloween or anything. So when halfway into the show, we'll start talking wrestling soon.
Okay, well,
after baseball and football. I want to give a minute and a half to baseball and football. You can do that.
Let's say, first I got to conclude our Halloween story.
Okay, today, because
it's
only
one
half
time,
an hour.
Actually, a couple times, over at the haunted Stadium Theater. Is it the Stadium Theater? No, the Orpheum Theater in Foxborough. I got the wrong
Orpheum was out in Boston.
Now it changed its name recently. I don't know what it's called now, but it was in the center of Foxborough. They have the theater.
All right.
And so I think Joey was with me.
No, I wasn't.
Okay.
You told me this once, but it.
There was one time I went with their Intimidator and a couple other guys from their ABWF. This is going back maybe about 15 years ago. I got so scared, I was screaming, and I was actually jumping on the Intimidator's back and asking them, get me out of this place. To this day, they bust my chops about being scared at our haunted house. Then there was another time I went, a couple years later, I actually jumped through a makeshift wall because I was spooked by some scary looking lady who jumped up and scared me that I screamed and jumped through a makeshift wall. And to this day, the people who went with me at that time told me, it's like, no more jumping through walls.
Does not realize these people. I've been to Salem. Things don't scare me. I've had people put their hands in front of me at Spooky World. I went, good, you almost got me. And I slapped the guy's 5. One guy poked his head up one day at, again, Spooky World and went, I went, back to you. I think I said something stupid to him, so I'm not going to say it on. One girl over in Marshfield, one guy chased me with a chainsaw. There was no blade in it. I goes, what are you doing with that stupid, small little Husqvarna chainsaw? Get a real one. I even nipped it. He's like, how do you know how many cc's it is? By the way, you're revving it. It's a chainsaw, but there's no chain in it. Why do you think they call me Bubba? Why do you think they call me Bubba? You know why they call me Bubba?
No.
Have you ever seen the movie Texas Chainsaw Massacre?
Yes.
Okay. The family called Leatherface Bubba. I used to be a landscaper.
Oh, okay.
That's why, and I like chainsaws. So I told the person, get that toy chainsaw away from me and not scare me with it. This was in Marshfield. I'm walking out. There's a poor young kid there. Couldn't have been more than 12, 13, M's age, right? She's in character, like she's an escaped psychiatric hospital patient. And she's like putting this face. She was doing a great job. And I'm kind of following her, picking on her. You're not scaring me. I couldn't get her out of character. I said, what if I give you a big kiss? She says, will you get away from me, you stupid old man? If I couldn't go out of character, but I walked away, you're laughing. But my girlfriend at the time's daughter's friend was screaming. She was practically in my arms the whole time, screaming. Remind me never to take you anywhere. You jump in my arms, I'll end up dead. Falling on the ground with a broken back and legs.
That's what Steve would do at movie theaters.
I mean, do you realize that a lot of this is fake, right? It's not real. If it starts to become real, let me know.
Okay.
Oh, please. Why aren't you here as Pennywise? Please.
Did he say Pennywise?
Yeah.
Did you say Intimidator? You're starting to scare me, Bubba.
Starting to. You've been scaring me for the last year and a half. Anyhow, can we talk wrestling for the last 12 minutes? Or can we talk about baseball and football?
Well, actually, baseball, bad news. Sad news, too. The Red Sox are eliminated from this year's playoffs.
60s Wade Barrett. No. I've got some bad news for you.
It's going to be Houston and I believe Atlanta in the World Series.
Yes, and they already started.
Oh, I didn't know that. I missed
Braves had a game last night, and the Braves and Houston had played last night. I believe the Braves won last night. I hope the Braves beat Houston.
I do too.
Bunch of
and
cheaters.
Revenge of the Red Sox losing. But also too, Braves, baseball history, Braves used to be a Boston team back in the day.
Yes, they were. Boston Braves, the last team.
I would have loved to see the Atlanta Braves against the Boston Red Sox. That would have been something to talk about to the kids of nowadays.
Well, Babe Ruth ended his career with the Boston Braves.
Oh, I never knew that. I thought he ended it with the Yankees.
Nope, he ended with the Boston Braves.
Okay.
His last hit was a home run. He actually... He ran in because he never ran after last year. He would tag off. So I mean, a kid would run for him to run the bases, and he ran. He dropped his hat. If you ever see the movie The Babe with John Goodman,
Okay.
rent it if you haven't. Netflix it.
I haven't seen it yet. I'll check it out.
I mean, DVR it. I mean, no one
Well,
has.
I got Netflix, so I can check it out on Netflix.
It's called The Babe.
Okay.
With John Goodman. It's a really good movie. It tells about Babe Ruth, how he was incorrigible and the whole nine. And I mean, now we can go on to the Patriots because the Red Sox, we could talk about more next show. How about that? I know the Red Sox I think they had a great season. I didn't expect them to go as far as they did.
Yeah, me too.
Joe was upset. I mean, he still has his Red Sox hat on. He doesn't think the season's over yet. You guys missed my Yankee elimination party. That's all I know. Me and my brother were out watching that, and he missed my whole... As long as the Yankees don't win the World Series, I'm as happy as can be, because I can't stand them, the Yankees. And you can tell your niece that, and your brother, who's a Yankee fan.
Brothers.
Yankees. I'd rather be Joe than be a Yankee fan.
Well, the Patriots had, now to change over to football, the Patriots had a big blowout game this past weekend. I believe it was 56 to 30.
54 to 13.
13.
We needed a game like that, but then again, don't get too excited. It's against the Jets, the worst team in football. They barely beat Houston. Barely. It was one of the probably the third or fourth worst team in football. Maybe even worse than that. But they had great games against Dallas and Tampa Bay. They could easily right now be a winning team. I mean, they lost the games against the Buccaneers with the Brady return by a field goal. A 56-yard field goal, people, in rain is almost impossible. So Folk hitting the upright was a great kick, outright. I know that being an ex-football place kicker. And the match against Dallas, I mean, one interception, and then, I mean, one 75-yard play that the pros, Mac has an arm, and Bourne has the speed, not Randy Moss, but he's getting better. His completion rate is one of the best quarterback ratings in football. He's like the fourth best in football right now. Mac Jones is. They're a couple of points away from winning 2 more games, maybe even 3. This game coming up, they're pretty much an even team right now with the Chargers. Should be very interesting. Very, very interesting game coming up. It's just determined, I think, almost maybe even the whole season this next week. Because it's pretty much even teams. If you put these two teams side by side, they're pretty much even. There's not one really weak and one really much more dominant. I mean, a lot of people picking Dallas to maybe go to the Super Bowl. I mean, Kansas City Chiefs ain't doing so hot. They've lost, what, 4 games now? 3 games, too? They're 3-4, same as the Patriots? Or 3-3? I don't know. I know they've lost a few games. So, that's a great football team. Buffalo Bills lead our division, but they're not doing great either. They've lost a few games. A couple games to weak teams, too. The AFC East used to be the most dominating division in football, and now it's one of the weakest. It's just the Miami Dolphins are the worst record in football. Was it like 1-6, 1-5, something like that? Of the Jets? I don't know. Who cares?
All right. Well, Joey has written down the results of The W.
Before we go into that, can I interrupt you for the 16th time today?
Yep.
All right. Before we go into this real quick, I was mentioning real quick people, independent shows, wrestling shows. There's a couple this past weekend in Taunton. I didn't see it. It was at Platinum City Gaming. SPW was there. Masked Gladiators had a match in Fairhaven. I guess it was a great show, a big show. Had a lot of people in there. They actually turned away people, I heard.
Wow.
Something on a side note, and I'm going to mention this, and if he sees it, and if you hear about it, you can mention it to him. Davey Boy Cash, guy I have a lot of respect for, okay? You don't ever say, if a non-working wrestler shows up, he has to pay for a ticket. Dude, that ain't the way it works. That's a personal opinion. A guy who's gone over 6,000 wrestling matches, shows, okay? If a wrestler who doesn't not book that night shows up, you don't make him pay for a ticket. Let him walk in and watch the show. Maybe he'll learn something. Maybe people will say, I want to book that guy next time, because if you do that, you're going to alienate yourself. But it's your wrestling program. You do what you want to do. This coming weekend, the 30th, on Willard Street in East Providence, RWA. I know T. Phoenix has a great card coming up. I met him going to that show. For $10, he's probably going to have 8 or 9 matches again. New venue for them. I can't really spill the beans on information I'm working on, but excellent show coming up. LPW's announced a match for Hudson next month. Little Guido's going to be there. Nunzio, one of the headliners. Who was the guy with the blonde hair? He used to work with. He worked with Jerry Lawler's kid, Brian Christopher, for a while.
Scotty Tuhati.
Scotty Tuhati? No, there was another guy for a brief while. WWE guy, he's going to make an appearance. I don't know if he's wrestling or not, but he's going to be there. That's in Hudson. I keep telling people, I'll say this and I'll say it again and again and again. Go on the Independent Wrestling Network, Wrestling Forum, local wrestling. Go, if you Google one of these sites, it'll tell you different sites to go on to see different wrestling shows. KLOC is back working, Limited's working, Limitless Wrestling's working, XWA is looking for a new venue, but they're putting the show on. Masked Gladiators are working in Fairhaven again next month for 24th. RWA's got a match coming up. LPW, your shirt you're wearing. LPW's got the show in Hudson. Wrestling shows are back up and working again. Just go out and support independent wrestling. Side note before we start, congratulations to Carmelo Hayes, a.k.a. Christian Casanova, a local guy who wrestles around here for LPW. You've seen him wrestle. Is a new North American champion on NXT.
Wow. Awesome.
Okay? Now, go on with your list. Speak
Sorry,
up. Speak up.
I dozed off.
Well, wake up.
You put me to sleep.
No, you put everyone to sleep. Speak up.
Okay.
Now, this is the latest pay-per-view.
Yep.
Their,
which I saw.
Crown Jewels.
Universal title, Roman Reigns against Brock Lesnar. Roman Reigns won.
I would have called that. I read about
it. SmackDown Women's title triple threat. Becky versus Bianca Belair and Sasha Banks. Becky won.
Which I called, but I wasn't here to call it.
I picked Sasha.
I would have picked Becky. I know she's not going to take a title off her yet. Go ahead.
Raw tag titles. RK Bro versus AJ and Omos. RK Bro won.
Yeah, they pinned AJ. They're not going to pin Omos. Too big.
WWE title. Big E versus Drew McIntyre. Big E won. That
was the weakest match of the night. That match disappointed me to all heck. That match I didn't like at all. That was weak, and I just didn't like that match. The way it ended.
The no holds barred match. Lashley versus Goldberg. And Goldberg won.
Goldberg almost killed him, but I'm surprised Goldberg didn't hurt him more. But that's another story for another day, too.
The first Queen's Crown final. Zelina Vega versus Doudrop. Zelina won.
Major upset, I think, beating Doudrop. Major upset.
King of the Ring final, Finn Balor against Xavier Woods, and Xavier Woods won.
I'm surprised they gave Xavier the push. I think Finn Balor's a better wrestler, but there's a reason behind Xavier Woods winning that title too.
Hell in a Cell, Edge versus Rollins. Edge won.
Definitely the best match of the night. The opening match, That was definitely the best match of the entire night, in my opinion.
Yeah.
That was an awesome, awesome wrestling match. Those two guys killed each other. Literally killed each other.
We had Mansoor versus Ali. Mansoor won.
Yeah, Mansoor there he's from Saudi Arabia. If they didn't think about this for a second, there would have been revolts if they did it in his home turf, in his home city, Riyadh. Come on. But that was also a pretty decent wrestling match. They went back and forth well together. They worked well together.
And we had a non-title match in the pre-show. The Usos against the Hurt Business. The Usos won.
Hurt Business. Well, I don't know why they're back together again, but they are.
For those of you who's going to be watching Monday Night Raw this Monday on the 1st of November, you're going to notice that the arena looks quite familiar.
Oh, yeah.
And why is that, Joe?
Because they're going to be in Providence on Monday.
The Dunkin' Donuts Center.
Did you ever get tickets to that? Because you had mentioned about it.
I was thinking about it, but they are charging 3 times their amount per ticket than they usually charge. So I said, no way am I going to spend
I'm paying $70 for a ticket.
$70 for the cheapest ticket. And they wanted over $100 for front floor seats.
Yeah, floor seats. And ringside, I know, up to $400 or $500. I know.
Like $500, yep.
I'm all set. I mean, we went there one time. I think we paid $37 for seats.
Yeah.
Which was a little steep, but they were decent seats. We were way heck in the back, band against the wall. We had the whole row there. We had fun, but
we did.
It's not worth that kind of money. I'm not paying $70 for a wrestling show. Sorry. Yeah. I know they lost money with the COVID, but I'm not paying it all back on one show. I'll watch it on TV. I pay enough for my cable.
Yeah. Now that's a whole nother story. The expensive cable bills.
Yes, I know. I pay $300 a month for my cable. I know.
$300, wow.
Between that, my internet, and my stupid phone. Yeah. Can I get rid of the phone? No, because the cable bill goes up. My house phone I never use.
Yeah, I noticed that. Lessen your bill if you have a landline phone.
Right. Well, that's why they can make all those bowl calls. I should be living at the Marriott Hotel, and there's nothing wrong with my Social Security. I have warranty on 9 different cars I don't own. We get these calls all the time. If you get these calls, people, just hang up. As a matter of fact, don't even answer the phone if you don't recognize the number anymore. I've heard if you keep answering, they'll keep calling. Don't answer. I want to remind people to wear your mask. Get vaccinated. I wear this thing constantly. It's on me every time, all the time. I'm always got my mask on.
Well, this Sunday people will be wearing their mask.
End the show.
But anyways, thank you, Bubba, for co-hosting. Thank you, Joe, for being a guest. Thank you, WACS, for directing us and airing us. Well, have yourselves a safe Halloween, and we'll see you in a couple weeks with a new episode of The Inside Scoop. Until then, stay safe, and we'll see you.
Hide your candy.